And I think it's exciting that things are relatively back to normal, especially after the pandemic.
Now at 6, it's a rat race for millions of people heading home after Thanksgiving. We'll get you up to speed on where things stand at the airport and on the roads, with Utah Highway Patrol wrapping up their holiday traffic blitz.
As we're heading into the holiday season, how inflation and forest fires are impacting local tree farms here in Utah.
And the chances of a Pac-12 title matchup were looking slim last week, but the Utes are gonna make it happen. We'll take a look at just how they did it.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News Live at 6 starts now.
And thanks so much for joining us after the NFL here on Fox. We're glad to have you here. I'm Amy Ney alongside meteorologist Dan Pope. So Dan, we have got our eyes on this next big storm. We had a pretty good day for travel today.
Great, yeah.
But it all changes tomorrow.
Yes, it does. It'll start with some rain showers, briefly change over to snow, and this will happen during the morning, probably more after the morning commute, unless you live in Ogden or Logan. So we'll talk about that. First of all, the jet stream is swinging down. It's deepening, and you can see this here on the chart. That upper level low along the west coast is taking a dive, and so air is now coming out of, well, it looks like almost the Northwest Territories. And so with this deepening along the coast, we're going to see an increasing chance for precipitation. There's a little bit of tropical moisture being tapped in here as well, so that'll kind of enhance things as we move forward. 42 in Salt Lake City right now. We've got a bit of a south wind. Provo is 39. Temperatures will stay fairly mild tonight, but take a look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Just a little while ago, this was screaming color, but right now the Ochre camera looking out to the west. Okay, what to expect? This is what I think will happen. I don't think it, I know it. I mean, I've been forecasting this for many years. The cold front is expected tomorrow. Mild conditions overnight tonight. Now, south winds. By afternoon, there will be snow, probably late morning and afternoon in Salt Lake City, maybe a little later in Provo. I'm expecting 1 to 4 inches at minimum in the valleys, 4 to 8 on the benches, and 8 to 16 above 7,500 feet, with the heaviest snow falling likely in Davis and Salt Lake County bench areas. So we'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit.
Thanks so much, Dan. Millions of Americans expected to hit the skies and, of course, out on the roads all after the Thanksgiving holiday celebrations. But severe weather could impact travel plans for many. According to FlightAware.com, at least 871 flights around the United States were delayed and 40 canceled by this morning. AAA predicted nearly 55 million people will travel 50 miles or more this year, an increase compared to last year. Also, a lot of drivers heading home after days of visiting family, and with the high number of traffic, actually comes more to Utah Highway Patrol troopers who try to make sure that you are safe out on those roads tonight. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser rode along with a trooper earlier today. So, Emily, what did you guys see out there? Good evening.
Amy, good evening. We saw a lot more cars than you would see on a typical Sunday, and we saw a lot of speeders. The trooper we were with, he would just be off to the side of I-215 for just a few seconds before catching someone going well above the speed limit. Take a look at this. This truck was going 88 in a 70 zone, plus they had a passenger laying down in the back seat not wearing a seatbelt. Just breaking the seatbelt law alone could cost you a $45 citation, but it also increases your chance of injury or death by 40%. That's according to the Utah Department of Public Safety. And we are expected to see some winter weather tomorrow, so make sure you're also prepared for that.
Anticipate maybe 5-10 more minutes on your travel time and just relax and take it easy as you're driving and just go with the flow.
Just between Wednesday and Saturday, UHP stopped over 2,000 speeders. Look at what we also saw today. A teenager running late to work, going 21 miles per hour faster than he should be. That trooper we were with, Corporal Alsop, he's been monitoring the westbound area of I-215 all weekend, and he says a lot of the speeders are people heading to the airport. He stopped one couple who was going 91 just trying to make their flight. Reporting live in West Valley City, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Emily, thank you. Be safe out there tonight. Meantime, Christmas tree farms are now open for business, of course, as we head into the busy holiday season. This year, with inflation and massive forest fires on the West Coast, Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson checked in with owners of Alt's Christmas trees in American Fork to see how they're adjusting and why it's more important than ever to buy a local tree.
My family is very poor, so we would go up in the mountains and get a tree for my family.
Leo Alt has been chopping down Christmas trees since he was 13 years old.
I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and went 7 miles on a horse up the canyon. Got there dark. I cut 14 trees and tied them on the horse.
He says the beginning of turning a chore into a business.
Brought them back on the horse and sold them for $1 a piece. So I thought I was really, really rich.
The 90-year-old and his family have kept that business, Alt's Christmas trees, running for 78 years now. With inflation and forest fires destroying trees along the West Coast, Leo and his family say this season has presented its own set of challenges, and each tree costs around $10 to $20 more.
All of Oregon got burned. Noble Fir, they lost millions and millions and millions of them this year.
Forest fires swept through the farm they get 200 to 300 trees from, forcing them to switch vendors last minute and receiving only half the amount of trees they usually do. Thankfully, the Alts handsaw and select hundreds more trees for their lot each season.
It's really up in the high country. We encountered a lot of moose, a lot of bear.
Not an easy task in 2 feet of snow, dragging each tree uphill. But one Ismael Overa, who has worked for the Alts for 10 years now, says is worth it.
All these trees really have like their own story. You know, depending on where they come from on the hill, they just, you know, they run up into different animals, or some get more sun, some get more water, and you can just, going up there, you can just kind of tell.
Each tree, he says, is a labor of love. Perhaps the reason, despite heftier price tags and less options this year, it hasn't slowed down customers.
I'm going to get a fresh tree every year.
The Alt's already selling hundreds of trees this weekend alone. Leo says he hopes his loyal customers and new shoppers can keep the business going, and that he can help get families the perfect tree for the holiday season.
I hope they love it.
In American Fork, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thanks so much, Lucy. Well, tomorrow tickets go on sale for the popular ice castles in Midway. Today, we caught up with some of the workers who are dedicated to making sure they're all ready to go for people to enjoy. This past week has been warm there, so the days where it gets colder, they have to really work quickly to get the job done.
We're about halfway there right now, but if it stays super, super warm, a lot of it will melt, and then we just restart and go back at it. People's reactions, little kids love it. It's a cool place to be and work, and it's super fun.
Again, tickets go on sale for this event tomorrow. They're $18 for ages 12 and up, $12 for kids ages 4 to 11. If you want more information, go to icecastles.com. Well, this time last week, the University of Utah's hopes for a Pac-12 championship game were actually looking pretty slim, but against all odds, they're now set for a shot at winning the conference title again this year. It's all set for Las Vegas this coming week. Fox 13 Sports Director Jeff Rainier joins us now live with a look at how the Utes landed this coveted spot. Jeff, you said there was a chance.
Yeah, Amy, after losing to Oregon last week, the Utes needed 4 things to happen to get them back in the Pac-12 championship. The first thing that happened on Friday, UCLA beating Cal. That improved Utah's strength of schedule, which helped them win the tiebreaker. But the Utes still needed 3 more things to happen on Saturday. First, the Utes needed to beat Colorado, which they did, beating the Buffaloes 63-21. And then they needed some help. Oregon had to lose to Oregon State. Didn't look good when the Ducks had a 34-17 lead early in the fourth quarter, but then the Beavers scored 21 straight points to win the game 38-34. That had Utah and Oregon tied for second place at 7-2, but the Utes needed a 3-way tie in the final spot to get the final spot in the championship game because of their head-to-head loss to Oregon. So Utah needed Washington to beat Washington State in a late game last night, and the Huskies won it 51-33, creating a 3-way tie, and it came down to in-conference strength of schedule, which Utah had over Oregon and Washington because of UCLA's win. So there you go. Quite a remarkable feat. The Utes, I mean, everything had to go exactly according to plan for them to get into the Pac-12 championship game, and it did.
Yeah, it did. They had that huge win yesterday, but then, you know, it wouldn't have really mattered unless all these other things came into play.
Oregon had their game won, up 21 points, and then back came, or 24 points, and back came the Ducks. So now, or Beavers. So now the game is going to be this Friday night in Las Vegas, Utah, USC, and you can watch it right here on Fox 13. It was a great game the first time they met. I don't know if you remember, the Utes scored a late touchdown and a 2-point conversion to beat the Trojans.
Yeah, they're going to be tough, though.
They're playing really good.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it all works out this Friday night in Vegas.
Woo, all right, we'll be watching it. Jeff, thanks so much. Coming up, it could be a game changer when it comes to technology that dramatically alters how a deaf person communicates in the world. We're going to show you how these state-of-the-art glasses work. And early voting underway in a race that could prove critical when it comes to the balance of power in the Senate, where things stand in Georgia's runoff election tonight. Welcome back. Glad you're with us tonight. I'm Amy Nay. Some national headlines, and it's now been 2 weeks since 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death inside a home off campus. Now, police in Moscow, Idaho, say they're pouring through more than 260 tips that were sent in digitally. A Friday night news release from the police department asked the public for any outside surveillance videos from businesses or residents nearby, taken between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. on November 13th.
This person may be known to carry a knife. He may have shown it off to friends. He may hunt. He may use that knife because he didn't blanch at the fact that he had killed 1 or 2 or 3 and went on to the 4th person. So this person probably has what we say is they have a propensity for the wet works. They don't mind getting their hands dirty.
Idaho's governor has authorized up to $1 million in state emergency funding that can be used for the ongoing investigation. As of right now, no suspect has been identified. Federal and local forensic teams say they've completed their crime scene investigation after last week's shooting at a Virginia Walmart. A night shift manager shot and killed 6 of his co-workers before then turning the gun on himself Tuesday night. Investigators have turned the store in Chesapeake back over to Walmart corporate now that they've finished their work. Walmart has not yet announced its plan for the future of the store. It's been 1 week since 5 people were killed and 25 others injured in the mass shooting at Club Q, an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs. Today, Colorado Democratic Governor Jared Polis spoke out about gun regulation. He was asked about a total ban on assault-style weapons. He said there are a number of regulation factors to consider.
We learn from each instance, but you also have to look at all the causes. So is there a way to improve gun safety out of this to make sure that red flag laws are used, not only if he had a pistol and a semi-automatic weapon, do we need better laws on ghost guns? Do we need to make sure that we have a better process around semi-automatic weapons? Open to all of those.
He also went on to say that Colorado's red flag law has been used several hundred times, but could have been used even more to prevent these kinds of tragic events. Colorado passed its red flag law in 2019. It's intended to temporarily prevent an individual in crisis from accessing firearms through a court order triggered by the individual's family, a member of their household, or a law enforcement officer. In Georgia, more than 78,000 people took to the polls for the first Saturday of early voting in that hotly contested U.S. Senate runoff race. Incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker are in a runoff race after neither were able to pass the 50% threshold in the initial election. Georgia's state Supreme Court allowed counties to offer early voting yesterday. Additional early voting days are scheduled before Election Day, which is set for December 6th. This year, Black Friday shoppers turned to their computers and their phones in record numbers. Adobe Analytics saying that on Friday, online sales set a record with consumers spending $9.2 billion despite inflation. That was a gain of almost 2.5% over last year. Tech gifts and toys, especially popular with shoppers, as online sales of those items more than doubled since just last month. Discounts help push up sales with the biggest savings in clothing, toys, sporting goods, and televisions. All right, we are glad you're joining us tonight. Maybe taking a break from your online shopping to find out about this next big storm rolling into our region. Utah's Weather Authority meteorologist Dan Pope joining us with more on that. Hi, Dan.
Hey, good to be here with you, and always nice to talk about a storm when we haven't had one for a while. Therefore, we need the snow, and the snowpack has been running. At first, it was running way over 500 to 1,000%, but right now it's just barely above average. So we need storms, and this one coming in is going to be a fairly significant one, especially will impact the mountains and the benches of Salt Lake Davis counties. Okay, let's get right to it. Show you the picture of Strawberry Reservoir. This says cold to me. Look at the bubbles in the water right here. This picture taken just so incredible. The nature that's around us. So here's the storm, and a little bit of tropical moisture right here. The two are going to kind of come together over the Great Basin, and that's going to initiate a pretty good chance for precipitation. Right now, a little moth-eaten, the precipitation, or bottom line is the cloud cover and all that, not really coming together into anything major, but with that tropical moisture coming in and then a very strong jet stream, this is going to turn into a fairly robust storm, I would have to say. 37 is what it feels like because of a south wind at 9. If you're going out, you're going to need a jacket. 42 degrees is the temperature here. We have 27 in Kimmerer. We have 32 in Roosevelt, 39 in Provo. And across the state, Grand Junction over in Colorado is 39. Vernal is 30. We have 30 in Elko as well. So here are two computer models. This is the rapid update computer model. And as I put it into motion, you'll see by about 7 a.m., there's some scattered showers, usually in a south wind flow in a westerly direction. Salt Lake Valley doesn't do very well. So initially some very light showers in the morning for the commute. And then you can see by noon, widespread snow across the region. And later in the day into tomorrow night, continued chance for snow. Now let's look at the other computer model. This one also showing the snow starting out probably after 8 or 9 a.m. and then turning heavier as we move into 4 p.m. And then notice that it is still snowing at 10 p.m. So these areas right in here, especially west to the east of the Great Salt Lake, where we'll probably get enough cold air to keep some snow going in this zone right here. So Davis and Salt Lake counties and down through kind of south and east of the Great Salt Lake. Then on Wednesday, we're in between storms, and how this storm really is going to pick up some. This is an atmospheric river coming up on Thursday. So by Friday, this will have an impact on Utah, bringing snow, and also a pretty good chance for heavy rains in southern Utah with that atmospheric river. The next storm is due to come in on Sunday night. There we are, Sunday night and Monday morning. So more storms on the horizon. Here's what we look like for a low temperature tonight. Staying mild, mostly in the 30s. The front comes through, and then temperatures go from about 43 down to about 33 during the afternoon. So the afternoon commute looks a lot more sloppy than the morning commute. The morning commute will be just wet, but probably some slush and snow later on. 34 in Park City tomorrow. All of these high temperatures will happen earlier in the day. The south will stay dry as this cold front will probably not reach most areas until tomorrow night. 56 in St. George tomorrow, 50 on Tuesday. Showers over the nearby mountains. I don't expect them other than some gusty winds coming down through the canyons. It won't be a precipitation day for Tuesday, but later in the week, Friday and Sunday, larger storms with that atmospheric river coming in. So for us, afternoon snow, and then pretty good chance for snow in the morning Tuesday, 30 for a high. Lake effect snow east of the Great Salt Lake and those bench areas of Davis and Salt Lake counties. We warm up on Thursday. We have snow coming in Friday and snow again Sunday night. So here we go, folks. We're going to add to the snowpack, and also we're going to have some travel trouble. Let's look at weather.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. Still ahead, for the first time since the start of the pandemic, more people are expected to shop in person than online this holiday season. Straight ahead, how that could provide a much-needed boost for local small businesses. And progress being made in the fight against lung cancer. Doctors say a new report is encouraging, but we'll explain why they say there's still a lot of work to do here. We'll be right back. So there's no question that COVID changed a lot of our habits. A new study suggests one of our holiday habits is returning to pre-pandemic levels. This is all about how we shop, particularly for the upcoming Christmas season. Forrest Sanders explains.
Because this house is over 100 years old, it kind of takes you back a little bit. Just having the warmth of the walls in here, the original floor, it's just creating an ambiance that you don't find everywhere.
The hope for Carmelita Stafford is her sister's Whimsy store in Mount Juliet has exactly the look to get people to come in, look, and linger.
If there are any items left the last week of Christmas, most husbands will come in and snag them. We have Loveless Cafe products in here. You still had to eat your biscuits, right?
But like so many other businesses, 2020 hurt.
Being forced to close down dealt us a huge blow. However, it also forced us to realize that in order to reach most of our customers, we had to expand our online presence. We're grateful that we're still here.
And now Sisters Whimsy is experiencing something happening nationally. Market research company the NPD Group says in their 2022 projections, more shoppers are expected to make most of their holiday buys in stores as opposed to making most of their buys online. It may be a small difference, but it's the first time in-store holiday shopping has been projected to outpace online shopping since before the start of the pandemic.
These same projections show that 80% of shoppers are planning to do at least some of their shopping online this year. It's still a really big number, but then you take into account that the number last year was 85%. It's something else that's working in the favor of in-store shopping.
Before COVID, shopping online was just a convenience for so many people. However, when it was mandatory because stores were closed down, suddenly you're forced. So I think at that point, a lot of customers, myself included, really missed being able to walk in rather than wait for the cardboard box to come to the door and hope it's not broken.
And having people come in to look and linger in store. Well, that's what this place is all about. In Nashville, I'm Forrest Sanders reporting.
Health-related news for you right now, and it is the leading cause of cancer deaths. Lung cancer kills more people in the U.S. than colon, breast, and prostate cancers combined. That's according to the American Cancer Society, but a new report now offering some hope when it comes to survival rates. Mandy Gaither breaks down that data and explains why health experts say a lot more work still needs to be done.
In the fight against lung cancer, health experts call new data on survival rates remarkable progress.
It's a terrible disease, and honestly, in the past, we've had trouble moving the needle with regards to survival improvements.
But the latest report from the American Lung Association shows the 5-year lung cancer survival rate has continued to increase from 21% in 2014 to 25% in 2018. However, a person's odds of surviving 5 years after diagnosis is only about 20% in communities of color.
I diagnose lung cancer on a daily basis, and we're just not catching it early enough.
The odds of surviving cancer increase significantly when it's diagnosed early, but the report says about 44% of cases of lung cancer aren't caught until a late stage, when the survival rate is only 7%. Last year, lung cancer screening recommendations were expanded to include anyone ages 50 to 80 who have smoked a pack a day for 20 years or 2 packs a day for a decade. But in 2021, the report shows only about 5.8% of eligible people in the U.S. were screened.
The challenge is getting the word out there, making people understand the risks of lung cancer, providing them with options in terms of how to get diagnosed with lung cancer, and then really explaining the importance of getting treated.
I'm Mandy Gaither reporting.
It's something you have to see to believe. New AI glasses helping people who are deaf or hearing impaired. I'm Jackie Ibanez. I'll show you how it works all straight ahead.
The climate crisis is giving our cities a run for their money. I'm Marianne Rafferty with the possible solutions architects are calling for. That's coming up.
And how does your teen approach mental health? A new study shows they treat it very differently. We'll hear from teens about a disparity they feel when it comes to how boys and girls are treated. That's next. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 13 News Live at 6:30. I'm Amy Nay. It was a nice holiday weekend to be outside, but our weather is soon changing and feeling a lot more like winter, maybe getting you into the holiday spirit. We want to check back in with meteorologist Dan Pope, Utah's Weather Authority, and find out what's coming. Dan.
Hey, you know, red sky at night, sailor's delight. That's what they say. But maybe in this case, Scott Taylor taking this photograph of the Great Salt Lake, I just popped it in for you. Red sky at night may be more like red sky in the morning, sailor's warning, because this is the beginning of what will be a fairly potent storm moving into the Beehive State. We have tropical moisture here with a little upper level weather system, and there's the main cold front here. This has originated well up north in the Northwest Territories, so there's some cold air behind it, very cold, probably the coldest of the season so far. So the two collide, and then it starts out as some light showers and really starts to pick up in intensity as we move into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow night and into early Tuesday morning. So outside, it'll stay warm tonight with that south wind blowing. It makes it feel a little bit cooler, but 42 in Salt Lake City, 41 in Ogden, and 39 in Provo. And of course, we're looking at a possibility of snow and the cold front coming in tomorrow. The timing will be first in Logan and then into Ogden. We're talking during the commute. So these two areas in the north will see that commuter issue going into work. The showers and the snow will hold off until a little bit after the commute in Salt Lake City, but then really pick up in intensity late in the morning and into the afternoon. But it will be turning much colder, and snow certainly by afternoon in Salt Lake City and in Provo. We'll see anywhere from 1 to 4 inches in the valleys, 4 to 8 inches on the benches, and 8 to 16 inches above 7,500 feet. Locally higher amounts in the east benches of Salt Lake and Davis counties. More on that coming up in just a little bit. Amy?
Thanks so much, Dan. Now to your news. And a man is behind bars accused of burglarizing a clothing store in Midvale on Thanksgiving night. According to court documents, 28-year-old Ryan Maroney rammed an SUV into the front doors of the New Balance clothing store in town just before 8:30 that night. The owner estimates over $5,000 in damages. Police also say he took almost $1,000 worth of property. Police found him outside his residence and arrested him without incident. He then allegedly admitted to the burglary, saying he needed the money. Maroney is being held without bail. His crime was committed while he was on pre-trial release from a previous felony charge. A driver has been arrested after rolling a truck on I-15 northbound near 6200 South and running away this afternoon. According to Utah Highway Patrol, a truck and trailer were going northbound when they rolled over, blocking 2 lanes. Another car coming through crashed into the trailer. The driver of the truck ran from the scene but was caught close to the highway. There were minor injuries, but we're told nothing serious. Electricity now being restored in the recently liberated Ukrainian city of Kherson. That's according to an official from the office of Ukraine's president. Power was first supplied to the city's critical infrastructure there and then to households across the city. Already more than 30 settlements there have their power back on. Ukraine's national power supply company says 75% of electricity demand is being met across the country. Millions of Ukrainians have been suffering power cuts in recent weeks amid intensified Russian shelling. Scientists warn the U.S. will become the target of more frequent natural disasters as climate change continues to worsen, with severe weather events already testing the limits of cities and modern infrastructure across the country. Fox's Marianne Rafferty has the latest on what architects say can be done to help cities combat the climate crisis.
From massive wildfires to hazardous hurricanes, flooding, and more, a new report from the nonprofit group Rebuild by Design reveals 90% of U.S. counties were hit by natural disasters over the last decade, with California, Iowa, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Tennessee listed as the states suffering the most catastrophes between 2011 and last year. But as erratic weather patterns are made worse by climate change, a growing number of architects say many of our cities aren't built to withstand the escalating environmental impacts.
The way we are designing cities, we're displacing natural vegetation and replacing it with huge amounts of impervious surfaces. All that impervious surfaces goes to increase flooding, temperatures.
With builders calling for climate-responsive designs to combat these ongoing threats.
Design strategies that we can use at the architectural and urban design perspective in order to both mitigate and adapt to climate change.
But these struggles aren't just native to cities in the U.S. In China, architects say climate change is causing industrialized cities to fail as they buckle under bouts of extreme flooding and drought.
We need a new model, a new way.
The solution could lie in what's being called sponge cities, pits made from layers of volcanic rock designed to quickly absorb water and hold it below the ground, preventing flash flooding in vulnerable neighborhoods. In the U.S., the National Centers for Environmental Information reports disasters last year cost more than $150 billion in damages. Marianne Rafferty, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Subtitles have increasingly become popular for many viewers across the U.S., but a new technology is now hoping to use this function in real life to help people with hearing impairments. Pretty remarkable stuff. Fox's Jackie Ibanez has details.
While many devices have helped improve the lives of people who are deaf or hard of hearing, this might be a game changer.
It's not missing anything. Every single word is right there. Are you serious? Wow.
This is awesome. New artificial powered glasses allows users to read subtitles of their conversations happening in real life. When someone near you is wearing them, whatever you say will be transcribed and displayed on the lenses. The new technology is called X-ray glass.
Imagine Alexa for your eyes. But the difference is that the information that it's retrieving, The questions that you're asking of the data are your own conversations.
The augmented reality glasses are paired with a smartphone app that can translate 9 different languages, with more coming soon. It can also rewind a conversation to let users read it again. While the glasses were created for those with hearing impairments in mind, the company hopes it will have a broader appeal.
That will work in all kinds of life. We think of immigration issues where people are having to deal with people who speak different languages, or people in hospitals and having to rely on translators coming in. Instantly, that resolves that issue.
The company wants to eventually create a contact lens version of the technology. Jackie Ibanez, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Recent study shows social media plays a harmful role in the lives of teens, especially teenage girls. Suicide numbers are on the rise, yet teens seem more likely to talk about mental health. In tonight's To America's report, Matt Pearl sat down with 4 teenage girls to hear their thoughts on everything from mental health to disparity among body images to suicide. It's a glimpse into their lives in their own words.
It was a privilege to interview the 4 young women you're about to meet. Much of what they shared was hard to hear. But what I hope you'll hear is the clarity, the perspective, and the substance of what they had to say. That's our lights, camera, action.
Oh, cool. Wait, they look at you or the camera?
You look at me.
Okay.
I'm Rebecca. I'm a sophomore in high school. And I'm Zariah. I'm actually graduated from high school.
Hi, my name is Tommy, and I am a senior in high school.
And I'm Michaela, and I'm a freshman in college.
What is this place?
This is Vox.
This is Vox Atlanta. This is a uncensored teen space.
Mental health actually became something that so many teens here at Vox were interested in that we had to start a whole different team for it.
What is the difference between how mental health is viewed by young women versus how it's viewed by young men?
Young women tend to view mental health as something that is they can actually talk about, and I feel like men are a lot of times silenced by toxic masculinity.
Women are taught to be more vulnerable, and for men to just hide their feelings, to just be strong, be a man, and that's definitely not true.
Does that start early in life?
I think so. I've never seen my dad cry to this day.
Oh yeah, same.
For the adults watching this story, how would you how would you put them in the shoes of a young woman in school?
You will always think and compare yourself that you aren't pretty enough or someone else is prettier than you. You will get harassed, you will get catcalled. It is a very aggressive environment. You're constantly told to perform all the time. You always kind of gotta be putting on a show and being hi, it's so nice to meet you, and just the nice person with a beautiful smile or something. And it's just again, a lot of pressure to always just be someone for other people, and you're just never for yourself.
How does social media fit into all of this?
Social media is a fake life. When I posted my homecoming pictures, I looked a lot better in those than I did in reality. And that's what everyone does.
Back when I was in high school, there was this Instagram page dedicated for my school all about ranking girls and their different Instagram photos. They were getting called 2s and 1s, and just really hateful things would be commented under the posts. And it was really hard to and I actually took down all my posts.
Especially when we all are suffering through the same things. It's what if one day I come to school and my friend is hospitalized because she tried to kill herself? And it's you don't want to think of it, but sometimes you just it pops into your brain, especially when you're doing this research and you're writing about this stuff. you can't help but think it.
I want people to know that, like, hey, prioritize yourself, prioritize your own needs, prioritize what you can do to make yourself happy.
There's a different stigma for both males and then females. And as long as we're just having conversations about what those stigmas are and then how we can get better from that, then I think that's a good start.
I'm Matt Pearl.
Much more for you still ahead. He's putting smiles on people's faces, and it all comes along with busting a move while keeping you safe. We're going to introduce you to this crossing guard who's going viral.
Coming up in sports, I'll tell you where the Utah football team is ranked this week after a wild Saturday got them into the Pac-12 championship game, and some great catches today in the National Football League and big moments. The highlights are on the way.
Welcome back. When you think of quilts, you might think holiday gifts or a new winter project to create at home. But quilts can really tell our stories, sometimes surviving for generations. Mike Valerio takes us inside a new exhibit in Los Angeles that's all about some cool quilts covering the American story.
When you look into these faces, emerging from every stitch, every block, you realize great quilts can also be great art.
Quilts can have so many layers of stories and abilities to connect.
The Fabric of a Nation exhibition, which started at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, now traveling cross-country to the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles, is about reshaping expectations of what quilts can be. Round, revolutionary, but ultimately fabric accessible to us all. Designs often deeply dedicated to memory.
It actually brings up stories that they have forgotten about, a quilt they might have made in elementary school. And because I think textiles are something that literally touch us all, people are willing to turn to the person next to them who they might not even know and start sharing those stories.
Curator Jennifer Swope says this is a democratic art form, quilting bees from generations ago demanding the right to vote. A quilt by Harriet Powers, born into slavery in Georgia, depicting biblical stories next to struggles of American life.
Quilts are a soft landing for tough conversations.
What you have in the background is the fabric of my humanity.
Artist Karen Tabbs' more than 12 by 9 foot quilt has more than 1,500 pieces of fabric, all sent to her during the days of the pandemic. Masks, messages, even a sleeve of a wedding dress mailed to Tab, so the people closest to her, isolating, could be stitched together in a quilt of comfort.
In my studio, I was doing the opposite of what was happening on the outside. I was repairing my world.
Do you think, Jen, that people realize that we can look into the depths of America by looking at these quilts?
Maybe people who wouldn't feel quite as welcome in a gallery full of paintings, they're going to feel more welcome in a gallery full of quilts.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Well, a police officer from Ohio going viral just by helping people start their day off right, all in an unforgettable way. One that'll make you smile. Tanisha Cordell from our sister station in Cleveland shows us.
Let's go. Good morning. Good morning. Can you feel it?
This is 89th Street.
I'm Corporal Hudson. I'll be your maestro for the day.
Home of Cleveland's new, hottest block party, hosted by the city's own.
Welcome to Cleveland Clinic. I'm the DJ that don't play. I told you, rain, sleet, or snow, we gon' go. Even on the ice, I'm twice as nice.
This DJ pulling double duty.
Show me some love. Show me some love.
He's formerly known as Corporal Eric Hudson.
Come on now. Come on now.
Supervisor with the Cleveland Clinic Police Force.
I got the heat in the street. All you gotta do is move your feet.
While his love for music and freestyle live on from his past, Corporal Hudson's mission today,
get to this light, make it right.
While volunteering to cover cross guard shifts, is to simply pay it forward.
You'll be surprised when the caregivers, how many of them hug me, they break down. They crying in my arms, thank you, I needed this. So that's what gives me joy. When I come here, I love giving that energy, and it reciprocates back to me. I love it.
Hudson, who grew up in Glenville and proudly calls it home, says this, showing love is what helped him through dark days on the job.
It weighs on you every day. You come in, you got to put your life on the line, and it's the scrutiny, so it drains you because you don't feel appreciated.
Though, as Hudson says, there's a reason in the season.
Welcome to the Cleveland Clinic.
Every day, he chooses to live and groove in his purpose.
This is just me being me. I love it. I love my community.
But these bright days are not met without a little competition.
Doc, why? Doc, we battling. Oh, look at Doc. Hey, Doc, I can't do that, Doc.
From the community.
Come on now. Yes, Doc.
Who loves him back. In Cleveland, I'm Tanisha Cordell reporting.
Obviously a lot of fun. I think we should put a disclaimer. Do not try this at home. You shouldn't really be dancing in the streets when the traffic's whizzing by. But he was all about safety there, helping everybody out. And boy, it makes you smile, right?
Well, you know, if we're happy like that, the dopamine and all of the good things come out and you smile.
Why not?
That's what's fun. and you've got to have a good attitude every day, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a bad day, something not so good happens. Yeah. If you do a little song, do a little dance.
Might help you out a little.
I think so.
All right, so somebody's been doing a little snow dance.
I have
bring
been.
on the snow.
Yep, I'm not as good as he is, but I'm ready for some snow. Let's bring it on. Got a cold front coming in. So first of all, a couple of photographs. Well, a photograph and a video. I want to show you this beautiful picture of Strawberry Reservoir frozen with bubbles coming up now. Thanks to Ellen Kowalas for sending this in. Now, beautiful sunset this evening. Chris Williams sent this in to me just a little while ago. How about those colors in the sky? Isn't that just amazing? And yes, another sunset shot. Oh, it just jumped back to the beginning on me. All right, well, we'll go ahead and move forward. Maybe. There we go. Here's a little bit of tropical moisture. Here's a cold front. The two collide, and that gives us the energy for a Great Basin storm. And it's going to be impactful over southern Idaho and parts of northern Utah. And the satellite does show pockets of snow right now. It doesn't look terribly organized, but a very strong jet stream is coming in, and that'll churn the air up. That'll lift the clouds and bring the moisture. So outside right now, 42. It's going to stay mild tonight with that south wind, and we'll continue to see temperatures that are a little warmer than usual all through the night. Now, in the morning, snow will start to fall, first off in Preston and Logan, Tremont and Ogden. That'll happen around the commute time, but a little later in the commute, we'll have some rain showers, maybe mixed with snow in the valleys around Salt Lake City. But you can see those temperatures mostly in the 30s to the upper 40s right now. Here's computer chart number 1 showing us the time frame. Okay, so as we get into 7:30, notice some rain showers here, snow in Logan, some snow around Tremont, but by noon, this all changes all over to snow. 1 p.m., we're seeing the snow steady from Salt Lake City south to about Scipio. So this area right here getting the snow, and then that will continue into the nighttime hours with some showers reaching Richfield and Beaver. The storm most likely won't get any farther south than about southern Utah's I would say around Bryce Canyon. Here's the second computer model showing the snow in the morning. Again, heaviest along the Idaho border near Logan, coming into Salt Lake City by midday. So here we are midday to late afternoon, snow falling across the entire region. And then at 1 a.m., snow heavy at times, and we'll start to see that cold air come in. So it's coming in from the west, so that means Davis County, Salt Lake County through the morning, likely to see snow heavy at times. So the highest snow totals above the 1 to 4 inches in most valley areas that I'm forecasting, and 4 to 8 on the benches. That's likely to be Davis and Salt Lake counties, maybe even some spots getting over 8 inches, with 8 to 16 inches in the mountains above 7,500 feet. Next storm develops on Wednesday. It has an atmospheric river right there coming up into Oregon and California. That's Thursday. We're dry. Then on Friday, here comes the snow again. Some showers in southern Utah. We're dry on Saturday, and the next storm comes in on Sunday night, and Monday morning. So we're in line for several of those storms. So tonight, staying mild, mostly cloudy, a little breeze out of the south. Tomorrow, morning warmth up to 43, maybe a few showers, cold front comes through, snow drops, snow falls for the afternoon commute. That means we're definitely going to be having travel troubles going home. 34 Park City, again, these temperatures here probably happen early in the morning. All through southern Utah, we're likely to see those temperatures maybe all the way through the evening. I mean, afternoon, evening hours, because the cold front won't reach southern Utah until Tuesday morning. Maybe some wind out of the north in the canyons Tuesday. Big storms coming in later in the week, Friday and Sunday will affect southern Utah. So for us, snow tomorrow mainly later in the morning and afternoon, snow into Monday night, Tuesday morning. Only a high of 30 degrees. That's why we'll see some lake effect impacting Davis and Salt Lake County bench areas. Then we have that next storm Friday and another one Sunday into Monday. Stormy weather, but maybe not so much in down there in, what is that, Las Vegas, at is it Allegiant Stadium, that the Utes will be playing USC? I don't know.
Yeah, the Utah football team headed back to the Pac-12 championship game for the 4th time in the last 5 years after an incredible stretch of events went in favor of the Utes. The Utes took care of their business yesterday, a dominating win over Colorado, but the Utes needed some help to have a shot as repeating as Pac-12 champions. They needed Oregon to lose to Oregon State, and that happened after the Beavers scored 21 straight points to beat the Ducks. Then Utah needed Washington to beat Washington State, which they did, creating a 3-way tie for second place. The final tiebreaker came down to the in-conference strength of schedule, and with UCLA's win over Cal on Friday, Utah won the tiebreaker over Oregon and Washington. Wow. So Utah will play USC in the Pac-12 championship game this Friday at 6 o'clock in Las Vegas, and you can watch the game right here on Fox 13. The Utes beat the Trojans by just 1 point during the regular season with a late touchdown and a 2-point conversion to pull out the win. That was USC's only loss, and today they moved up to 4th in the AP and the coaches poll behind Georgia, Michigan, and TCU. The Utes moved up 2 spots to 12th. In the NFL, the Buccaneers took on the Browns. Tom Brady to O'Keefe. That put Tampa Bay up 12-10 in the 3rd quarter. The Browns faced 4th and 10 with 8 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. Jacoby Brissett to David Yuko. Makes a great catch in the end zone for a touchdown. Pulled it down with one hand there. That tied the score and sent the game into overtime. In OT, Jacoby finds Amari Cooper wide open after the defender falls. He hauls it in. A gain of 42 yards inside the 5-yard line. 2 plays later, Nick Chubb takes it in for the touchdown. Cleveland rallied late to beat the Bucs 23-17 in overtime. The Ravens took on the Jaguars. Lamar Jackson to Josh Oliver. He's in for the touchdown to put Baltimore up 27-20 with 2 minutes to play. Back came Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence to Marvin Jones Jr. And how about that catch for a touchdown? Goes up and gets it. 1 foot down, and the shin is in. That cut the lead to 1. The Jaguars went for 2 and the win. Lawrence to Zay Jones. Jacksonville rallied to beat the Ravens 28-27. Zach Wilson on the sideline after he was benched as the Jets starting quarterback. His replacement, Mike White, played well against the Bears. Fires it to Garrett Wilson. He makes the catch, then does the rest. Nice move to break free. 54-yard touchdown put the Jets up 14-10 in the 2nd quarter. Then in the 3rd, White sends it to Elijah Moore. 22-yard touchdown. White threw for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading the Jets for 31-10 win over the Bears. Coming up tonight on the sports page, we'll hear from the Jazz after last night's loss in Phoenix, plus more on the Utah football team. Stanford's head coach resigned after last night's loss to BYU, and Weber State moving on in the FCS playoffs after a first-round win.
You got a lot to talk about later
That's a
tonight.
World Cup. We have some of that as well, an upset in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Morocco beating a high-powered team.
Ooh, and then we're waiting for Team USA here on Tuesday.
Tuesday, massive game. Boy, I can't wait for that.
All right, lot to talk about in sports. Thanks so much, Jeff. We'll be right back. Well, scientists have found an interesting connection between the act of taking a photo and learning. Researchers at the University of California, Riverside say students using their cell phones to take pictures of an instructor's lecture slides may help them remember both the information in the slide and the spoken word content. Experiments were conducted to see how much students retained from material if they did or didn't study a slide before a test. Those who took pictures of the slides remembered content better than those that did not take photos. Maybe this is why I take so many pictures on vacation. I'm just trying to remember it all.
I wish I had an iPhone when I was in college.
I know, it might have helped. Scribbled a lot of notes. Hey, we're so glad you stayed with us tonight. We'll be back with more news, sports, and weather a little later at 9.